morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Welcome to being here. I'm Ariel.
I'm Shya.
Want to know the secret to well-being and all things wonderful?
Yes, I really do want to know what is the secret to well-being and all things wonderful?
Listening,
Yes,
being here,
yes,
listening,
yes,
being here,
yes,
listening, and being here.
yes.
That's the secret. Let's practice.
Okay.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
What time is that, by the
Well,
way?
it's almost Christmas and Hanukkah.
That's
People are getting ready to be with family, with friends, gift giving. And I'll bet you some of our listeners are really, really stressed. Did I get the right thing? What am I going to do? How am I going to pay my bills? Where am I going to go? What about travel?
You're wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Wasn't that good?
I enjoy you.
I'm so happy you enjoy me.
Yes, I am too, given that I live with you. Your acting career prior to doing what we currently do has stood you in very good stead.
It has. Today I was dusting behind our bed. We have our bed kind of abuts the wall on the diagonal. So we have a shelf that looks almost like a triangle. And I pushed the bed out and I was using a duster, and I found the picture, which is leaning in the corner, from Shya and my, the day of our wedding, which we'd given as a gift to his parents. And, when they passed away, we got it back. But on the back, it had an inscription to them. We gave it to them on their 59th wedding anniversary.
Right.
And I realized that there was just something really unique and sweet about being together with people for a long time. So whether it's your partner, whether it's your cat, whether it's your family, but there's a radical difference in the quality of the experience of your relationship with those people.
When you're there for it?
When you're there for it and you listen to them.
Right. Well, we have somewhere between 40 and 60,000 thoughts a day. At least that's via Google. That's what Google, when I asked how many thoughts we had a day as human beings. And so we're very busy thinking. See, we're thinking all the time. And when we're around other people, we're primarily thinking there too. So it's not like we intentionally slowed down enough to hear what they're actually saying, because we're quite busy in our thoughts.
I love that you just said that. When you say we're quite busy in our thoughts, oftentimes we don't realize that listening to our thoughts is an occupation, that we're preoccupied, that those thoughts take precedence over listening.
Of what's happening in our lives in the current moment.
Or you have a commentary about what's happening in your life in the current moment. Like a moment ago, I heard a car go by. So I'm listening to you, and then my thoughts diverted to, oh, that's a car going by. And if I think those thoughts are me, then they take precedence to listening to you.
Or if you think those thoughts are important to your survival.
Correct. That's true too.
If you think that what you think is very important, then it becomes very important to you. Rather than you notice you have thoughts. Oh, by the way, they're not new thoughts. You had them yesterday. You had them the day before that. You had them as far back as you can remember. Your thoughts are primarily repeats of old thoughts. That's the remarkable thing, because 95 to 98% of your thoughts you had the day before that. So thought is not life. That's byproduct of being alive and having an intelligent mind is you have thoughts. But the reality is your life is an experience that's taking place in the current moment if you're here for it. Now, if you listen when people talk, it will pull you into the current moment. It won't be something you do to get better. It'll something that will be a natural outcome of your having listened. People want to quiet their minds. They go to meditation and to quiet their minds. We lived in a meditation center for a couple of years, about 40 years ago, roughly. Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Yeah. And in that, we were trying to quiet our minds. Well, if you try to quiet your mind, then it's your mind trying to quiet your mind. It's saying, I shouldn't talk so much. I should listen more. Mm-hmm. See, so if you give you a directive to listen, to get better, then it's the same mind-driven directive that tells you you're not enough or you're not good enough, you haven't done enough.
That you need to improve.
You need to acquire
a better
more.
Me would listen.
A better me would have a different relationship. Or a relationship if you don't have one. That conversation you listen to isn't you, it's just that it's music. Music was this music that played in elevators.
I was listening to your music and totally forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, that's good.
Shall we take our first guest?
Yes, please.
All right. Renata, welcome to being here. Tell people where you're zooming in from.
Hello, I'm zooming in from Bern, Switzerland.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. So it was so beautiful to hear and see how enthusiastic you are about each other.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I liked it.
But the problem I have with what you just said is that there was a comparison in it. See?
It wasn't simply, it's like, oh, wow, was that a beautiful flower? It's like, oh, I'm not as beautiful a flower, or yes.
I wish my relationship would be more like your relationship.
You're doing heavy nodding, but this is an audio, so people think being unkind to you.
So it is about my question.
Okay.
And that's why it struck me somehow. Because my question is about well-being with a person who is my wife, and we are very different.
Well, I'll tell you something.
That's a good thing.
This person next to me that you can see on Zoom here, this is my wife, and we are very different.
Yeah.
See, that we are very, very different.
You know something I really love to do, Renata, it's relaxing for me. I like to go into a store that has clothing, and I like to touch the fabrics and feel the different textures. And sometimes it's, I'll go to a consignment store because I find them very fun, and I'll go through and I'll see what colors pop, and I'll hold things up that are totally not a size for me or anybody I know, just because I'm fascinated by how it's put together and whether I find it attractive. Do you think Shya could possibly stand that? And do you think that for him, that would be recreational? That would be torture.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah.
See, here's the thing. I'm not trying to have Ariel be like me. I'm having Ariel be Ariel and finding those things that I love about the way she is. I'm not looking to find things that I want to improve, change, or make her better at.
But it starts with us. If you're trying to change, improve, or make yourself better, the moment you look at your wife, you're going to be doing the same thing. So it's not personal to her. It's really about how you relate to yourself. And I want to talk about thoughts again for a moment, because our thoughts create our self-identity. and then argue for that identity. So, and they're colored by lack of experience in the past, meaning if something happens and you resist it, you don't like it, you don't want it, you get stuck with it, then anytime that theme comes up now, your mind regurgitates that moment to replay and color this moment. I'll give you an example. We had some folks over for dinner who we hadn't met before. They lived in our area, and we were getting to know each other, and we were talking about their background and our background. And we mentioned, or Shya mentioned, one of us did, that back in the 70s, he had taken a type of self-improvement or personal growth seminar, which was something that they had been introduced to in the late 70s, early 80s. And they formed an opinion about it at that time that it was a negative thing, never having participated in it. So up came this, oh, that was a really awful thing to have done, or it was, they didn't let you go to the bathroom when the thing was in session, or and the anger surrounding her friend asking her to come and telling her that she was worth the investment when she didn't feel she had the money came rushing up. So there was no listening to our perspective of how that was a place that launched a whole possibility for us. So it was our job to listen to her and to hear her perspective and not hurt ourselves with it. But I found it interesting that so much of her self-identity was wrapped in, I didn't have the money then.
Her current identity.
Her current identity was.
See, it may have been 30 or 40 years ago, but her current reality is still being influenced by decisions she made back then, and she's still being right about it.
So in order to hear your wife or any of your family members, this is perfect. It's like, absolutely, when somebody speaks, what's going to rush up potentially is your history.
And all the information you have about the subject matter being talked about.
And what if you let that just relax so you can hear their perspective?
And their perspective is right
It's
from their point of view.
perfect from their point of view.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was perfect that that individual didn't choose to do those courses and didn't have the path in their life that I did.
What was very interesting was we offered them some of our books, and she looked at our first book, Working on Yourself Doesn't Work, and she said, I don't agree with that.
I don't want this one because I don't agree with that statement.
So
yeah, too bad.
Well, not really.
No.
She actually ended up taking it because I told her it's not
no,
about.
she didn't take that one.
She did.
She
did.
I thought the other lady took it.
No, she took that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
cool.
did. And I saw it on her table when I went over.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is that I don't think too bad. I don't have a problem with her perspective.
See, here's the thing. There's about probably 8.5 billion people on the planet, roughly speaking. Each one has a different point of view. Each one has a different perspective on life. Each one's perspective is perfect for that person. So why should we find fault with her for being the way she is?
Here's the thing. She was telling us about the law of attraction and how much she enjoyed that practice and how it worked for her. And I said, I'm happy for you that works for you. If something works for somebody, I'm not going to go, oh no, that's crap. It isn't for her. It's an important part of her life.
But I think this is all a tribalistic type of thing where you form a team of people that
are for and against.
Exactly. And you're on the side of what you're for, and other people are on their side, and then you find fault with them for being the way they are.
So here you
So
are,
look,
you talk about your wife.
Exactly.
And if somebody is determinedly heterosexual and finds a female relationship that's married offensive, you are now going to be other. And if you're like, well, this is the better lifestyle, then they'll be other. What if listening allows us to be inclusive as opposed to identify other people as oppositional?
Yeah. That's a good lesson to learn for me somehow.
So Renata, darling, you need to be nice to you. See, if you're going to be nice to Esther. If you're not nice to you, you'll find fault with her. If you find fault with you, you'll find fault with her. Look, hey, you go to church.
Yeah, sometimes.
Good. Did God make a mistake in creating you?
No.
Okay, well, maybe you should forgive yourself then for the thoughts that you have that there's something wrong with you.
If we make it go a little bit wider, if you go
I'm
back.
not a religious person, by the way, but I'll use religion for you to wake up.
If you're going about your day, you go out, you're holiday shopping, and you have an interaction with somebody, and it feels abrasive, and you bring that frustration home, then chances are the person you love the most, you're going to be unkind to also, because you're already being unkind to yourself.
Yeah, something like that just happened just recently. I got a letter from my children's daycare where I'm working, and they just told everyone like the things they wanted to improve, and what happened, and what should be different, and what they like. The leaders just told us, and I was there the day before, and I really thought it's about me. So it was 2 points that were really that fitted to my being there the day before, and I talked about that with Esther in this way, like whoa. I was very upset, and why and how and so, and when I called the next day the leader of the daycare, she said, it's not about you.
Slow
It wasn't
down.
about you. We like your work, and we like how you work.
Have you ever heard of listening? Have you noticed I'm trying to say something to you?
Yeah.
But what you have to say is more important.
I get
because it makes you right that you were wrong. You were right for being wrong, you see. You thought it applied to you. We're talking about listening. That's what this is about. It's about hearing what another person has to say, not just repeating what you say to yourself over and over. Have you realized how much you tell yourself the same stories about you all the time?
Yeah.
Look, my dear, I have a different perspective on you than you do. I like you. Now you're going to try to be wrong for liking you?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Are you going to try to prove me wrong for liking you? Well, what was that?
Yeah. Well, at least that's honest.
I like that.
It sounds like you're the daycare where you work was smart to put it out in a letter so that you could have your reaction to it separately. And I love that it was a universal thing, not only you, but it clearly related to you. I think it's interesting that your reaction is to get upset. And I don't believe that you were not upset prior to opening that letter. Because if you're not upset, you open the letter, you read it and go, okay, They want these two things to happen at work. If you're already upset, it's like, what?
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
Don't they know I'm already doing that?
Yeah.
Just about upset. Upset is an old, repetitive behavior that didn't work the first time. Somehow we've got it wired that if we get upset, then somehow people will bend to our will.
Kids do it. You see it. They can even sit down in the middle of an aisle in a grocery store.
Let's take it back to you and Esther. See, let's take it back to you and Esther, because I think that's where it goes. She doesn't want you upset. So you get upset so you can dominate her and have her do what you want her to do. And you threaten upset as if you don't go along with my going to this Thai restaurant tonight, I'll be upset. And you don't like it when I get upset. So let's
you
go.
Really want to let me get my way. No French tonight. I want, yeah.
Yeah, I won't Thai.
And then I make myself wrong for getting upset.
Well, I like that. I'll tell you why I like it, because I think it's habitual for you. It's part of your identity to be upset with yourself. Like you would know who you were if you just felt well.
If you felt good all the time, oh my God, you'd think you had Alzheimer's or something.
The other thing is, as we're talking, I know people can't see you, but I can. I'd say bless you, but I know that was a cough. Bless you anyway.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I see sometimes like emotions run across your face, like sadness, or I would say sadness. And I think that sometimes other things are more convenient for you. Like if you can get outraged, it's more convenient than it is to just sometimes feel. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, and let's talk about the 3 principles before we end this segment with you, because I think it's really important, also important for our listeners as we're heading into the holidays, because anything you resist.
We also should talk about what listening really is.
Okay. Do you want to do that first?
I think I should do that.
We'll do that first.
See, listening is not agreeing with what's being said or disagreeing with what is being said. Listening is hearing what another person has to say without adding or subtracting anything, without putting, well, in my point of view, it's different. My idea of what you're talking about is different. That's not listening. That's arguing for a point of view, rather than allowing what Esther says to you, or what in this case Shya is saying to you, to come into you and actually just hear it.
Here's an example. I started the 3 principles. I was getting ready to do principle number 1, and Shya says, I think we should talk about listening. And I believe I said, would you like to do that first? And he said, yes. And then he started. Now, because I listened to him, here we are. It's perfect. Had I had the identity, I'm speaking, you interrupted me.
And that, I bet you, is a lot of the fights you have with Esther.
Yes, that's true.
And what's lovely about it, Renata, is you see another possibility now, where you lose nothing by listening. It is a gift. I enjoy hearing where he took it. Oh, it's hearing what another person has to say without adding anything, taking anything away, agreeing, disagreeing. It's hearing them. I heard what he had to say. I lose nothing. We can talk about the 3 principles or not. My life is very fluid that way, rather than a constant tug of war. The only thing is, if you have a really crystallized self-identity, you then think anybody is stepping on you because they weren't listening, as opposed to it flows like water. I don't know a better way to say it, but it's really, in my experience of me, very pleasant, as opposed to walking around with grudges. And when I get upset and I have a grudge, that grudge repeats, and then it usually refines itself. So it's like, Shya just interrupted me. And I was going to say, and had he been listening to me, I mean, he's talking about listening, but you go on and you have yes, you're laughing now because this sounds like you. So it's like you have the initial, you could be a lawyer, you have the initial argument, and then you add evidence, and then you refine that, and then you add more evidence, and then you start over.
You get to be right, but the cost of being right is your experience of love. See? So you get to be right, but it costs you the experience of Esther loving you and you loving her, which is why you're together in the first place.
Okay, I'm going to say something very challenging to you. You ready?
Yes.
You are deserving of love. Nodding doesn't help our listeners.
Yeah, that scares me somehow.
Yes. Yes, and that's not just you.
Well, but it scares you because your life strategy has been based in that you're not terribly lovable.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's a fight rather than enjoying the moment of your life.
I know people, Renata, say they want intimacy. And I'm not talking in particular about physical intimacy. They want to feel intimate between them and their loved ones. And even on a day-to-day basis, they want to have that kind of connection. But that can be frightening. It's easier to have a cause and be up in arms and angry.
Mm-hmm.
It's less threatening than it is to love.
And it's more familiar to myself. It's more familiar.
Yes.
Yeah, but you can't blame your familiar background for how you're being. It can contribute to how you're being, but you actually make a conscious choice to jump into that behavior where you could not necessarily go there.
The root for familiar, like it's a familiar habit, is familiar, family. It comes from my family. And what I've noticed is that it's almost as if your family is a piano. And if you insist on Beethoven's Fifth being played every time you come into the house, you will require your family members to go bum, 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 bum. But the piano can play anything. And because it's familiar, you may require it, but you're entirely capable of bringing a new tune into your household.
Yeah, that sounds very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
It's time for our listener feedback spotlight.
Okay, so here we go.
We're going to hear from one of our listeners about how transformation has impacted her life or his life. Let's see.
Yeah, and if you'd like to learn more about what we're up to, you could register for any of our upcoming virtual courses.
Or sign up for our newsletter. Just visit
transformationmadeeasy.com.
It really is easy.
It is easy if you know the way.
Hi, this is Maiken from Hamburg, and I absolutely love to attend the seminars with you guys, and because it's like a fresh shower. Sometimes life kicks you off the road, and it's like coming back on the road and drive nice and smooth, and being with the people there, meeting friends, and see that whatever I'm thinking, I'm the only one having this maybe problem. Others have the same topics, and it's not a problem at all. So I'm looking forward to the next seminar with you guys because it's just gorgeous.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shya's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
Well, we're getting close to the end of the year. We have a couple more Saturday Living Made Easies between now and when 2024 is over. Those are our 2-hour events where really great opportunity to center yourself. Our Transformation in the New Year events are happening on Monday, December 30th. We're doing one in the afternoon, New York time, but in the evening, Central European time, 19:30 or 7:30 p.m., but 1:30 our time. So if you're off on the 30th or want to make the time, come join us for our Transformation in the New Year event. We have one at 7 p.m. Eastern time for those of us in the time zone here in the US. It's a great way to launch ourselves into the new year, as opposed to, I'm going to change and do better. It's about starting with both feet on the springboard as you leap into life.
That's right. And we're doing a seminar called Leap into Life, January 4th and 5th. And it's a virtual seminar.
And right after that, Shya and I are heading to Costa Rica for our retreats there. Really looking forward to seeing many of you there, and highly recommend Leap into Life as the springboard, whether you're joining us or not, for our Costa Rican adventures. Let's
That's
take
right.
our next guest, shall we?
Yes,
All right,
let's.
Miss Anina, welcome to being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm Alina from Thun, Switzerland.
Nice.
Yeah, I was so it filled me with so much joy to hear you talk with Renate just in the previous segment.
Mhm.
And this listening thing is such a blessing until it isn't.
What do you mean?
What do you mean until it isn't?
So I'm a physical therapist, and I work with people who have sometimes very severe, what we call disabilities. And with one of them, I regularly hit the point where I stop listening to her when
Well,
she is.
I'll tell you why. You don't want to hear what she has to say.
When she what? When she's complaining about her
Condition.
And about how much this condition has ruined her life. And so.
Well, let's talk about those 3 principles.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yes.
So when you resist what she has to say, this client, you get stuck with what she has to say. Haven't you noticed that? After you're done with her, you have a conversation with yourself well into the evening about, I wish she didn't speak this way.
So true.
And she's stuck with it too.
See, if I were to take this cup I have in my hand and offer it to Ariel and she refuses to take it, I'm stuck with it.
Yeah.
If I give her the same cup and she takes it, I no longer have it. That's a communication, if you look at it this way. If this lady says what she says and you actually take it, hear it, listen to her, it's over for her because you've taken it away.
Now,
But
here's
if
the
you
thing.
resist it, as most people do with her, you see,
Yeah.
She's stuck with that communication and she's begging people to take it, but nobody wants it. They're tired of hearing her complain.
The other thing is, you cannot imagine what it's like to live her life. If she says, this disability has ruined my life, I get it.
It's true for her.
Whatever the thing is, if you recently, relatively recently, a friend of ours had a knee replacement surgery. Now, I know knee replacement surgeries because something wasn't for her repairable, and the expert said, you will be in pain for the rest of your life. This is the only option. She got the knee replacement surgery. And at the time, right after, walking for her was excruciating. It took us more than an hour to walk about 10 blocks in New York City. It was just really, really difficult for her. If that was going to be her life for the rest of her life, if that was not going to be something that healed, I can imagine her saying to me, this ruined my life.
Ruined my life.
And I'd be like, come on, you're still a whole person. But no, she's in pain. She was hurting. She couldn't walk. It was difficult. If you couldn't have full mobility, Anina, I wouldn't be surprised if you went through a period of time of feeling really sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
And can't come out of it if people don't have empathy for it.
So, first principle, anything you resist, don't want, don't like, wish would be different, sticks around. That's what you get stuck with. So she doesn't like, this lady doesn't like her physical condition. Well, that's what she's stuck with, and that's what she talks about all the time, because she resists what she's got.
Yeah.
Life shows up exactly as it does. She walks into your practice, and her life experience is that she is your perfection. She shows up in that moment. Third principle.
Anything you see and allow to be exactly as it is completes itself in the instant you see it.
Now, here's the challenging piece. I'm watching you. You're listening to us very carefully.
Yes.
You're now getting tips to listen to her
in
order to change her perspective.
That's something as a do. We're not
as a help.
Right. We're not suggesting that you do anything to help her other than your physical therapy, of course. But we're suggesting that you listen just to listen, not to produce an outcome.
What will likely happen, though, is as she leaves your practice, you will not be left with her.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, there are people in our lives who are in pain, and they are committed to having the pain. And you can see that there's another alternative. And I'm not talking about your physical therapy. You also are really clear that her attitude about her disabilities and her life
is affecting her experience.
Cause pain. That may be true.
Mm-hmm.
But it is her God-given right, if you will, to live that way should she so choose.
And you know, each of us are God in our own universe. We choose the things we choose. Look, Anina, darling, there's a very good reason you're on this show today, on this podcast, because you have discovered something in our seminars that's worth investing in. You know what that is?
Listening.
You are worth investing.
Listening was a good guess, but it's you. The answer was you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're worth investing in. And you're making the investment. So I'm not surprised that your life is getting better. But it's not about getting your life to get better. It's just that you stop doing those things that create problems in your life. As you become more aware of how you're going through your life, you don't hit the walls as much.
That's so true.
You know, we have a family member who's having challenges with her children. And she often, how are you if we speak with her, how are you doing? She often has a whole range of frustrations and challenges with her kids that when she says it, we listen to it. But she has no interest in doing things a different way. And she would find it offensive if we were to offer alternatives. And so we listen because it's her path to have these challenges. And my opinion that she should do it different when I have them only bothers me.
That's such a good point. That's, yeah.
So if you want to bother yourself, resist this lady.
Okay.
You know, she is so perfect for you. She's a really good
Friend in a way.
friend in a way. It allows you to tune up the part of you that is gracious with yourself and gracious with your life and allows it to be the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're
You
very
might even
welcome.
come to enjoy her, Anina. You
Yeah.
know?
See, if you enjoy her, she'll probably stop doing those things that you find offensive.
That's interesting that you say that, because I had talked about her with you before,
Uh-huh.
and then things had gotten easier.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I just forgot to enjoy her.
That's right.
You know, I love that you say that. Thank you so much.
Well,
I'm blowing you kisses because we
Thank
all
you.
learn how to be here and then we forget what works or we forget things and then
Well, life is full of distractions.
Mhm.
You know, you're here and clear in a moment, and something happens and you're pulled out of the moment. And so the game is to recenter yourself.
You know, when you say you forgot to enjoy her, if you look at, we had this conversation with Renata in the first part, you know, when she's not listening to Esther, chances are that she's forgotten to have fun.
Mhm.
It's not that you forgot to enjoy her, really,
You forgot
probably,
to enjoy you.
you forgot to enjoy
That's true.
You
Yes.
got serious, man.
about something. And it translated to her, and then you get to have her as a problem and a really great distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Welcome. And
You're so welcome.
happy holidays to you, my friend.
Yes.
And
Thank
happy holidays, everybody. I hope it's a nurturing time. And if it's not, I respect that as well, actually.
You can have whatever you have.
You know, next week's
We won't
episode
try to talk you out of being miserable. if
is
you want to be.
on the theme of community. I, you know, being here with Anina, being here with Renata, and also Judy in the background. By the way, shout out to all our wonderful producers and all the people who work behind the scenes to have this podcast be a beacon of possibility for so many people around the world. We're so grateful to you. And yes, if you enjoyed this podcast, you can share it with your friends. It's a wonderful possibility as other people head into the holidays as well, or actually any time of year, because you never know. Sometimes people hear these in the archives years down the road, and it strikes a chord.
And we've got what, over 700?
Eight
Close
and
to
something,
800?
more than 8. I just don't
800
know.
episodes.
I'll
My
figure it
God.
out maybe
We've been
by
doing
next
this for a while.
We have been. Yeah. Thank you, Anina.
Yes.
Thank you for listening, everyone. We'll be back next week.
So come on back.
And don't miss
Listening.
being here listening to. Yes.